This episode is sponsored by Tanasi. Tanasi is a university-developed one-to-one CBD plus CBDA formula that is 2 times more potent than CBD alone. Experience all-natural relief to calm your mind, relieve aches and pains, and get a good night's sleep. Go to Tanasi.com and use the promo code SLAYER to get 25% off at checkout. That's TANASI.com to get 25% off your first order with the promo code SLAYER. This week, we're talking about the benefits of incorporating massage, shiatsu, and acupuncture into your wellness routine, which can provide numerous benefits for mind, body, and soul. Welcome back, Ananga.
Hey, Shan.
I love that we're talking about bodywork. We really haven't done this in this way. Anyway, we're going to dig into acupuncture. Ananga has some great experience with that, and I have experience with shiatsu and massage and receiving those services now for many, many years. I started with massage therapy once a month and then segued over into shiatsu more recently within the last 5 years. I'd like to just share what my experience has been. One of the things I love about massage as a very pitta woman is the invitation and opportunity to just get on a table and relax and sink in and let a trusted practitioner work on my body. And there's nothing quite like a relaxing massage. It doesn't have to be a Swedish massage. It doesn't have to be something where they're really digging in hard. It can be very relaxing if you like that, or hot stone massage is something that I did for many years. But I always come away from a massage feeling incredibly grateful, very relaxed, and my body just feels so good. It's something that I've always maintained is not just for when you go on vacation once a year or just for special. It's something that if you can, that you want to budget for and make it a part of looking after yourself and looking after your body. Such a beautiful experience. And shiatsu is a little bit different than regular massage in that, well, first of all, you don't have to disrobe, and it's more of an energetic clearing, even though there is some physical touch on the meridian points. I always come away from shiatsu feeling expansive and more of a lightness of being and still in my body, but it's just a different experience than the relaxation that comes with the body massage. Relaxation is definitely a part of shiatsu. It's just, in my experience, it's just a little bit different. I feel a little bit more energized when I come away from that. Ananga, I know you've had experience with acupuncture. Would you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I know it's not everyone's thing because of the needles involved, although they are very, very fine, and I often don't feel them at all. It's something my body responds to really well, and my mind. I find it very calming. And I've always had a fascination with traditional Chinese medicine for many, many years. I've worked with 5 different practitioners over the years, and the one I'm currently working with is a traditional Chinese doctor. And I think he's my favorite, or certainly at the moment, he really works for me. And what I like about these treatments is he's traditionally trained. And when he puts the needles in my body, he goes back and feels them all. And it's like he's tuning in a radio and he's like, aha, and he adjusts things. And I was asking him last week, what are you feeling when you do that? And he said, I can feel the energy in the meridian channels, which I find really fascinating. And as I say, I've always loved those systems of medicine. And anyone who's listened to the podcast for a while knows that I love EFT tapping, and it works on the same system, the meridian energy channels of the body. One of the reasons I love these two things so much is because I always felt quite dismissed when I was younger. If I was struggling with my body or my mind, I would feel sometimes we're told it's all in your head, or there's not something obvious that blood work picks up or Western medicine picks up, but you know you feel off and you know you feel you need help. And I used to get really anxious about feeling dismissed or being put through tests that I wasn't comfortable with. And I like these subtle modalities where, they take your pulse, they look at your tongue, they look at your eyes, and they're picking up information about your body, your mind, your nervous system, your digestive system. But it's all very gentle and understated and positive. And for me, that really works. I know what I'm comfortable with long term. So in this case, I'll go and have a chat about how I'm feeling, and then he'll place the needles, and then he leaves me for like 20 minutes, and then he'll come back and adjust them. Then he leaves me again. And for me at the moment, I really like that. I don't want to talk too much about what's going on in my body or my mind. I just want to receive the guidance and the treatment. That really works for me. And the reason I've given that bit more detail there is I think it's so important that we choose what we can resonate with.
And that you choose a practitioner that you resonate with as well. It's really
Definitely.
important that if it doesn't feel like a good fit, then look for somebody else. I got really lucky having the same massage therapist for 20 years. And then now, I think shiatsu I started in 2017 after having some medical stuff that happened and wanting some support. And Michelle is just fabulous. And I love that you brought forward the importance of the energy between practitioner and patient. Patient probably isn't the right word, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, definitely. And, shiatsu, acupuncture, they're working on the energy system of the body. They're working on this meridian energy system of the body. And the whole point is to have those channels to be as open and flowing as possible. I have a beautiful guided practice from Chun Yi Lin, who is the founder of Spring Forest Qigong, where you go through and meditate on all your channels being open. I find it so relaxing. When I'm receiving acupuncture, I do that. Um, I do that channel opening meditation. So we need to feel comfortable. We need to feel open. We need to feel receptive. If you're somebody that's not keen on the idea of needles, and I realize as I've used the needle word, it's probably off-putting for some people, and I respect that. But then there's shiatsu, there's acupressure, and there's tapping. You can go and see a tapping practitioner as well. It's all the same system. But yeah, it's so important to find the modality that works for us, that we feel comfortable with, and the person that feels like a good fit for us. And that can change. I know for me, with my acupuncture practitioners, it has changed over the years who I feel I need to be working with. I was working with somebody a couple of summers ago. I'm much happier with my current choice. So yeah, if you don't find that you're fully resonating or you don't feel heard or what you need from the experience, then find somebody else.
It's also important to note that when you go have a massage, you do not have to sit there and be in conversation with the therapist. It might feel a little bit awkward, but it's okay for you to let them know, hey, today I'm not going to be very talkative. I just really need to relax and sink into this special treat that I'm giving my body, and they will honor that. And then other times you might feel a little bit more talkative. The woman that I see now that does my massage therapy is such a love and so kind. And I love hearing about her life and her daughter and her grandchild, etc. And so often I'll say, I might not be very talkative, but you're welcome to share with me or that kind of thing. So just know you have the right uh, to ask for what it is you need in the moment, whether it be massage, shiatsu, or acupuncture, whatever the therapy may be. It's okay.
Spoken like a true pitta. A pitta can define those things. Sometimes when we're vata in nature or our vata's up, our vata energy is up, it's not so easy to do that. So sometimes I can, and sometimes it's not so easy, which is why I like my current practitioner.
Yeah, yeah.
it's all part of finding what you need and practicing boundaries, isn't it, as well? And to say sometimes, yeah, I feel quiet, because practitioners are used to working with different people and it's not a problem for them. So it is good to exercise expression of our needs.
Ananga, before we start digging into the benefits of massage, shiatsu, and acupuncture, would you talk a little bit about the fascia and trauma in our bodies?
Yeah, this is something I learned a few years ago. I was listening to a lecture with Dr. Vasant Lad, who we've shared before, is a really well-known teacher of Ayurveda, and he gave this description of connective tissue and how it works and how it can be connected to our emotional well-being, especially trauma, shock and trauma. It was from Dr. Ladd that I first heard our issues are in our tissues. And he explained that we have this connective tissue that forms an internal netting throughout our bodies. And normally it's kind of slippery and it moves around just fine, but injury, trauma, being sedentary and active, and other factors can cause it to stiffen up and become less supple. Sometimes it can become stickier in nature, and that can cause pain and it can cause other issues. So it was him that first alerted me to that. And he gave this really good description of fascia as being like if you peel an orange and the different segments of the orange are held together with this white covering that forms the structure of the inside of the orange. And he said that's how that looks in our body, and that's the role of that substance in our body. So Ayurveda considers our nervous system and connective tissue to be related, and Ayurveda teaches that our moods influence this connective tissue, and it's how our emotions and memories are stored in the physical body. So it's a good thing to know a little bit about and to understand then the significance of bodywork, because we're an anxiety support podcast. And so it is relevant to anxiety when we're talking about bodywork, because it helps release the things that we're holding in our body's memory in the connective tissues.
Now, without question, there have been times when I've been receiving a massage, especially at the beginning of getting them regularly, where I might just start crying.
That's common, yeah.
It's kind of like when we're tapping and we start yawning, or the different ways that our body releases whatever it is we're holding on to. Something was touched, an emotion, a memory that's stored in the body was touched and released. And I remember being really surprised by it at first. And then over the years, of course, it just makes more and more sense
Yeah.
that would happen on occasion.
Yeah. And it's desired really not to be forced, but if it happens naturally, that's good. And I've heard Dr. Ladd describe that as like the liquefying of stuck emotions. It's something we touch on in one of our courses, where he describes that for things to move in the body, they have to be softened and liquefied. So when we come to the point of releasing tears and expressing the release of those emotions, it's good. We're getting the help. It's doing what it's meant to do.
And it almost goes without saying that regular massage or shiatsu or acupuncture or myofascial release, all of these modalities help break up adhesions and improve circulation. Foam rolling can also be an effective self massage technique to keep fascia flexible and reduce tightness. I have a big foam roller that I sometimes just like to lay on, have it just go right down my spine from my neck all the way down. That really opens everything up in my spine. It feels so nice. There's lots of other use for foam rolling as well, not just laying on it. But it's amazing how using a foam roller can help your body. And you can do it as an effective self massage technique, keeping the fascia flexible and reducing tightness in your body.
Yeah, it's always good to know there's things we can do for ourselves in between receiving assistance from another practitioner as well. It's nice to have things we can do.
This episode is sponsored by Tanasi, a university developed 1-to-1 CBD plus CBDA formula, 2 times more potent than CBD alone. I've been using Tanasi now for well over 30 days, and it's been incredibly helpful for deep relaxation and for a sound sleep as well as for aches and pains. I've found that the CBD plus CBDA really is more potent for my body. And it's something that helps take the edge off. And in using it to get a good night's sleep, it's been so nice to help me just get more calm and relaxed before bed. Experience all natural relief with Tanasi. Go to Tanasi.com and use the code SLAYER to get 25% off at checkout. That's Tanasi, TANASI.com to get 25% off your first order with the promo code SLAYER. For the remaining part of the podcast, we're going to dig deeper into the benefits of massage, shiatsu, and acupuncture. And then we'll finish up with some information around foot massage and how that can be helpful for you as well.
All of these things help with stress reduction and relaxation. Again, if we're open to them, if they feel like a good fit for us. Massage is an obvious choice where it can feel extremely helpful for relaxing the body and releasing muscle tension, stimulating the release of endorphins, which helps calm stress and anxiety. And of course, shiatsu does the same, but also in working on the energy system of the body. And having shared what we just shared about fascia, it's easy to see then how these things can be even more relevant for helping calm stress and anxiety because they're helping release tension, trauma, issues that we have stored in the body. Acupuncture helps balance the body's energy system. It helps bring a state of calmness and tranquility. I find it surprisingly relaxing. I feel quite positive after a treatment, and it does something for me where I just feel more myself, more balanced, and it can be very beneficial for mental health. When I was looking up my current practitioner, I checked his reviews. He wasn't personally recommended, and I hadn't heard of him before, so I went and looked up his reviews, and somebody just plainly said he stopped my anxiety attacks. So it's good to be reminded, how much these things can help our mental well-being and help anxiety. And we do have a resource on our Patreon. If you want to know a bit more about the Meridian channels, if you go to our Patreon at anxietyslayer.com/Patreon, my book is there that I wrote some years ago on EFT tapping. It's called The Art and Science of Emotional Freedom. And at the beginning are a few pages of text and diagrams on the Meridian channels. And it tells you when they're clear, how that manifests emotionally, when they're blocked, how it manifests emotionally. I spent quite a lot of time researching that. It's only a few pages, but I spent ages researching it and looking into it, and I got really fired up about it. And it's given me a lot of faith in those modalities. So if you want to know more, you can look there.
Another benefit of massage and shiatsu and acupuncture is that it improves your circulation. It enhances blood flow and lymphatic circulation, delivers oxygen and nutrients to the cells in your body more efficiently, and really helps with detoxification. That's why if you do get a massage, your practitioner will often tell you to make sure that you hydrate afterwards because so much has been removed and will be leaving your body, and of course having that hydration will help that. And then of course acupuncture can stimulate the blood flow to specific areas as well, improving your overall circulation and promoting healing in various parts of the body.
And then there's pain relief as well, which is what I overhear all the time while I'm having my 20 minutes alone on the table and the Chinese doctor's talking to people coming in and out of his shop. I hear people come in and say, my shoulder's better, my neck's better, my ankle's better. Really potent for pain relief. I think in the UK, a lot of people are very open to acupuncture if they have an injury or some inflammatory condition causing pain. And that's certainly I'm hearing reviews live during my treatment from people coming in, sharing their story. So yeah, really good for pain. And of course, in these Eastern modalities that look at the energy system of the body, pain is seen as blockages in the energy system. So when we're helping that system flow, we're helping release and relieve pain. And acupuncture's widely recognized for its ability to relieve pain. All kinds of conditions can be benefited.
And then we mentioned earlier, both of us mentioned that we find some mental clarity and focus when we have therapy, that it just kind of helps us feel more of who we are when we come off the table, which is huge. And it does this by reducing tension and promoting more relaxation and allowing us to sink into the table and then relax into our lives a little bit better so that we can have increased focus and concentration.
I've noticed since I've been working with this acupuncturist that I'm able to settle and read more than I was before I started going for treatments. And for me, that can also be part of pain reduction because I've noticed that if I've got chronic pain, it makes me restless. I can feel like I'm resting in my chair, but there's a kind of an antsiness to me, a restlessness to me. And I've heard others say that as well when you're living with chronic pain, that you try not to resist it, you try and accept and be as relaxed as you can, but it's disruptive to relaxation. So you're kind of constantly adjusting yourself to try and settle with it. And acupuncture is really helpful for helping that settle, and then we feel more calm, more balanced.
Well, let's wrap up today by talking a little bit about foot massage because this is something that certainly you can hire somebody to help you with reflexology or foot massage, but it's also something you can learn to do for yourself. And it's quite interesting.
When I was younger, around the time I got married, I wanted to learn natural therapies, and I chose reflexology. I think because I'd had a good experience with it, and I met somebody who became a mentor. He was a reflexologist, and that was how I met him. I booked him for this treatment. I didn't even know what I was booking him for. So I went to learn, and I studied with somebody called Anne Gillanders in the UK in the 80s, who was one of the real leading teachers of reflexology, and went into it in great detail, this map on the bottom of our feet where all of our organs and all of the structures of the body are right there mapped out on the bottom of our feet. And I found it fascinating. And I really went into studying it in some depth. I haven't practiced for many years, but I did for a few years. I practiced and then I taught. And more recently learned that Ayurveda also teaches that our emotional history is recorded in our feet in a similar way to how it's recorded in the connective tissues of our body, because the feet are like a little mini map of our entire body, as our eyes are. If you go to a iridologist, we have these areas on the body that are mini maps. And when I studied with Anne Gillanders, she taught us about these crystallized areas that can form on the feet, and they train you how to feel for these tiny, tiny areas and then use different massage techniques to break the crystals down and clear them. But again, more recently, I learned from Dr. Vasant Lad, the world renowned Ayurvedic teacher, that there are these areas on our body where, when we have suppressed emotions, they crystallize in the body. And he said they eventually accumulate in the soles of the feet. There are three kinds of negative emotion. There's the vata emotion that we often speak about on the podcast, which is fear, anxiety, nervousness. It can also be insomnia. The pitta emotion, the more fiery type that tends to manifest as anger or hatred, envy, or jealousy. And the kapha emotions, which are more like attachment, greed, possessiveness, low moods, and depression. So we have these three different mind body types, but they can all manifest their emotions in the soles of the feet. And Dr. Ladd recommends Ayurvedic foot massage for clearing psychological imbalances, including anxiety and feeling nervous, feeling worried, because it breaks up these emotionally related crystals in the feet. It reduces stress, and it also relieves pain in the feet. So you can book in with a practitioner if you want to try, reflexology practitioner. You can learn how to massage your feet yourself, but he also recommends rolling your feet back and forth on a hard wooden roller. You can buy these rollers with different notches cut out of them, so they got this uneven surface that you can roll your feet on, and that also helps to break these crystals down in the bottom of the feet.
I've also been told to use a tennis ball.
Mhm.
I've had plantar fasciitis in the past, and that was one of the recommendations to just put that under my foot and kind of roll back and forth to stretch out the plantar fasciitis.
Did you find it helpful?
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so there's just a number of different options for you to look into. And I'm glad we talked about foot massage because it is something that you can learn to do for yourself. And using something like a foot roller or tennis ball is going to really help move things around, break things up, and then, of course, eventually liquefy the crystals, which is going to feel so much better.
Yeah, it's a really good maintenance program, and you can do both. If you're not sure how to massage the soles of the feet, you can use a foot roller for that area. And then if you just learn to use your thumbs and kind of walk with your thumbs like a caterpillar from your heels up the instep of your foot to the top of your big toe, that's where the spine runs. So if you put your 2 feet together, your big toes each form half of the head area. That's where the reflexes are for the head. So the big toes are the head, and then running down to the heel is running down the spine. And when you go one way, it stimulates the spine. When you go the other way, it relaxes the spine. So just practicing massaging up and down like that with your thumb with quite a firm pressure, such a relaxing thing to do. And we've been talking about sleep last month. This is a really good thing to do for sleep. And then using the wooden roller for the soles of your feet if you're not sure how to massage there. But I'm sure these days there's YouTube videos and you can get information. But I also recommend booking in for a session with somebody because it's quite a science and it's a very relaxing experience.
And as we close today, we want to thank you so much for listening to Anxiety Slayer. And we hope that you'll give body massage or shiatsu, acupuncture, or reflexology a try. And then tell us how it went for you.
If you love our podcast, please consider exploring our Patreon for loads of Anxiety Slayer extras for calming anxiety, including exclusive posts, guided meditations, tapping sessions, popular episodes from our archives, and much more. You can find our Patreon at patreon.com/anxietyslayer.